Hey guys, this is Toby Mathis from Infinity Investing, and today we're going to go over the 8 big mistakes that beginning investors make. I'm going to break it into two sections of four so that you have little bite-sized pieces. I'm going to go through them and elaborate on them, but really we're going to just go down a list and give you some great ideas how you can avoid making these types of mistakes. So number one, let's just jump right on in. There's an old adage that people who understand compounding earn it, while people who do not pay it. Put another way, people who do not understand compounding pay it. And so we see that throughout society when we're dealing with credit cards and with debt in general. And people don't understand that compound interest is ultimately a killer on you. And on the same token, earning that type of interest or earning compounders can make you a lot of money. And so the first thing that beginner investors oftentimes miss out on is this idea of compounders. They fail to identify them, they don't understand the importance of them, and they don't realize that most companies don't have a compounder. Most companies don't give you the option. And the compounders I look at is the ability to rent the stock, the ability to get paid to own it, and they fail to look at those very basic things. There's actually companies out there that have been paying increased dividends for over 50 years. And if you were fortunate enough to buy back then, not only did you get paid on the company, but the company also became more valuable. As you were getting paid, that also increased. It keeps up and actually blows away, for the most part, inflation. So you're getting a raise every year. Put another way, it's like if you were renting out a house and you were getting $1,000 a year in year one in rents you were collecting, and it went up to 1,100. The next year, it went up to 1,200, went up to 1,300, went up to 1,400, 1,500. Year after year, those rents go up for 50 years. You'd say, wow, I'm going to be making a lot of money in 50 years if that thing keeps going up even 10%. Like it's just going up, right? It's increasing. Well, there's companies in the stock market that have been doing that. And invariably, they're not as sexy and cool as the companies where we hope the value goes up, because the company's retaining that value. Like if the company's not distributing it out, the company itself is becoming swollen and bigger artificially because it's holding on to that capital, as opposed to if it distributed out to its shareholders. And so, big mistake people make is they don't identify and don't understand that compounder. And then, number two, they don't understand how to generate income when they own a stock. They think that just owning the stock is the game. Maybe they're savvy and they get some dividends, but they don't understand that there's an option market where you can make yet another type of revenue selling against it. And they just fail to identify the compounders. I'd say probably it's in the 90 percentile of 90% of how many people fail to understand those types of compounders, just don't even know they're out there. And as a result, it's kind of like not realizing that if you have a car that's an eight banger, and it's in you don't even realize that you're only on two. Like you don't have cylinders. Like hey, I'm only running on two cylinders. You don't even realize that you have all this additional horsepower and power that you could access if you just knew how. Number two, big mistake, is trusting the wrong people and sources. Everybody's got an opinion. And what you should ask yourself is, why are they telling me to do a certain action? The way the market is people make money, and when people make money, quite often people lose money. When we're trading, I'm selling you something, you're buying it for more than I paid. And if it goes back down, you're going to lose money. Someone's going to buy it from you for less than you paid. There's always somebody who's making money in that transaction. The market makers in between there, oftentimes making a spread. And as a result, there's people with different motivations. Sometimes it's just to get volume. Hey, I don't even care what the market's doing. I just need I need to inspire you to take action and do a lot of trades. Churning, for example. Brokers used to do it because they made money on every trade. So their job was sometimes to get you to agree to let them churn your account, to sell off things, to buy things, whether you should or not. And so if you're listening to the wrong sources, if you're listening to the wrong people and they're not aligned with you and they have something to gain at your expense, You just need to be very, very careful because not everybody that's out there giving advice has your best interest at heart. Sometimes it's to get you to behave in a way so they could take advantage of the market. So, for example, we just had this COVID crisis, and there was a gentleman who got on. I won't name his name because I don't want to get sued, but he went on TV and he decried how all of the hotel stocks were going to go to zero. He named Hilton and said it could go to zero at the beginning of the crisis. These guys were going to go out of business, and he had shorted those stocks. So he had a vested interest in getting everybody to dump the stock and push the price down because he sold it. Now he needs to buy it back at that lower price. So that's what shorting it is I'm borrowing it, kind of like I go to my neighbor and I borrow his lawnmower, right? Or her lawnmower. And that lawnmower is worth 300 bucks. So I sell it for 300 bucks. Now I need lawnmowers to go down to $100, right? I need to have them on sale so I can go buy one for less than what I paid for it, so I can give my neighbor back a lawnmower, same lawnmower, but if I pay less for it, I make the extra money. So if I can find a lawnmower at 100 bucks, I'm going to make $200 if I already sold it. I borrowed it from my neighbor, sold it for 300. I got $300 in my pocket. If I can buy a new lawnmower at 100 bucks, I get to keep $200. So what I need to do is go talk schmack about that lawnmower. I need to tell everybody how horrible it is. And and everybody says, "Oh, these are the worst lawnmowers ever." So they all change them in. The next thing you know, the store has to do a fire sale and mark them down, and they're all being sold cheap. And I swoop in, and I buy the stocks that I borrowed. I buy, and I can replace my neighbor's lawnmowers, so to speak, right? And so there's people that literally will do that and they get you to sell so that it'll cause the price to dip. And it happens all the time. They love to go on national TV. They love to write articles. They love to stoke fear on certain companies. And we saw this with GameStop, right? Or GameStop, the stock, when you saw the short squeeze and all these retail investors got on to Reddit and they were pushing up the sale price because they were so ticked off that somebody shorted all the stock on GameStop. Like they literally shorted more than 100% of the available stock out there. So like they were crushing this company and they said, we're done with it. So you got to be careful of who you're listening to. Number three, and this is a big one, and I'll explain it really clearly, is trying to time the market. There's a good quote that the big money is not in buying or selling, but in the waiting. If most traders would just learn to sit on their hands for 50% of the time, they would make a lot more money. I believe that was Bill Lipschutz from famous trader. You don't make money timing the market. There's professionals that spend hundreds of hours learning nuances, thousands of hours learning the markets, and you're going to walk in there and go up against them because they're going to do head fakes. They're going to have a big sale position to try to, drive the price down so they could fill other orders and buy it back at a lower price. There's all sorts of things people do to jerk around the market. You don't want to do that. The way I explain it to people so they understand it is that's like going in and you learn how to play basketball, right? You learn how to dribble a ball, you learn how to shoot, and you walk on the court and you want to go one on one with LeBron James. Probably not going to go too well, right? LeBron James is a professional basketball player, playing forever at a really high level, has multiple championships, and you're going to go in there and you think you're going to have success going one on one. Well, the stock market is no different. These people have been doing this their whole lives. In some cases, these companies have been around longer, like multiple generations, and this is what they do. And you're going to go head to head with them? I wouldn't even try. So I would not play around with this timing of the market. Where you're going to have success is in exactly what it is. It's not in the buying and the selling, it's in the waiting. And I'm going to add the compounding, going back to the first mistake people make. Last mistake in this section that we're going to talk about that beginning stock investors make is buying and selling based on emotion. The fear of loss is so powerful, it gets us to do things kind of crazy. And it's like gambling. I live in Las Vegas. I see it all the time. I go down to any casino on any given night and I can watch this play. when somebody starts to lose and they get that fear, when they get down and they start going on a losing streak, I can literally watch them start getting dumber and start making really bad decisions because of that fear. It starts to trigger things and it makes them irrational. The best trading strategy in the world won't do any good if you allow emotions to trump logic. You have to be logical. That's actually a quote from somebody. I don't know who said it, but I like it. So I'm gonna borrow it for a second. But that's a good one. The best strategy in the world won't do you any good if you allow emotions to trump logic. And where do those emotions come? It's the ding, ding, ding that you hear. Again, I'll go into a casino. When you see people winning and you start feeling this compulsion, I need to win. I need to be winning. Why am I not winning? And you start gambling more. Everybody else is winning. I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it. Right. And you end up making poor decisions. Be cold, hard, calculated about your investing. Make sure you follow rules so that you don't follow emotion. That's our first four.